All right, welcome back to my NFL predictions. Which, to be fair, everyone, even if people do this professionally, are like, who the hell knows this season? Because it feels like every team is mid. Give or take 4 teams that are not mid. So yeah, we go into week 5 with a big helping of who the hell knows. So let's get started with our first game. And there was a point where I thought, before the season started, I was like, oh, this actually sounds like an interesting game. Like, this could be entertaining. Nope. It's Thursday night trash. We have got the Colts taking on the Broncos. Colts, 1-2-1. Broncos, you are sus as fuck. You are very sus. You'd think a team that has 2 teams that have Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan would be really good. Like this would be a fireworks show. No, both of these teams have been pretty garbage. Despite the records the Broncos have right now, it's pretty bad. It's pretty awful. So, who do I pick in this matchup? I am going to give it slightly to the Broncos, but if they lose here, I'm never picking the Broncos again, because the Broncos, it's kind of showing that Russell Wilson might be either cooked, or at the very least Nathaniel Hackett just can't hack it as a coach, as a head coach. And you see what I did there? Get it? He sucks. It's like getting to Adam Gase levels. Anyway, so there you go, Broncos, but who the hell knows? Moving on now to the London game, which is the New York Giants taking on the Green Bay Packers. Giants are somehow 3-1, and the NFC East is the big division this year. Who the hell saw that? And the Packers coming away with a overtime win against the Patriots in the game they should have dominated in. It's becoming very clear that the Packers have become very sus as of late in terms of offense, and they Aaron Rodgers desperately needs another Devontae Adams. The defense and special teams are great, but they have no run block. They have absolutely no run block, whereas the Giants have a still very healthy, shockingly, Saquon Barkley. And this is going to sound crazy. I'm about to say something very controversial. I'm going to give this one to the Giants. Why? Because, like I said, no run defense, and the Giants' defense, while kind of shaky, did kind of come away with some plays. Now, to be fair, those plays were against mid or low tier teams, so that's kind of a thing you have to look at. But I have this weird feeling that the Giants might come away with the upset in this game, and the Packers are kind of being exposed in this season. Could they win the division? I don't know. I do think they could make a wild card spot, but I have this feeling that the Vikings are going to take the division in this year. Don't quote me on that, though. Anyway, our next game is the Lions and the Patriots. Lions, you guys put up fireworks when it comes to offense. Too bad your defense can't do shit. And meanwhile, the Patriots, you guys did not shock me at all. All it showed was that the Packers were pretty suspect. You guys are down to your third string quarterback, and your play calls are bullshit. Having said that, though, I am going to sadly give this to the Patriots, because the Lions don't have a defense, and Bill Belichick loves to destroy weak defenses. I would love nothing more than to watch the Lions teabag you on television, but that's the problem. Anyway, so next up we have Chargers versus Browns. Chargers, you're still dealing with a Justin Herbert that is wounded, but you're now depending more on Austin Eckler as your runner. You have the Browns, who kind of do the same thing, where it's Nick Chubb busting his way through defenses. This is a tough one, not because they're two really good teams. It's more along the lines of these are two teams that are quite literally it's hard to gauge where these two are. The Browns choked away a game against the Falcons of all teams, and the Chargers got away with a win, almost like an ugly win against the Texans. I am going to pick the Chargers on this because I feel like, once, but it could swing either way. But then again, that's every game this season. Next up, we have the Texans and the Jaguars. The Jaguars are actually a competent team. I'm actually shocked. Yeah, they haven't played strong opponents, and they are 2-2. But then again, speaking as a fan of the Titans, the AFC South is kind of a trash division. But the Texans clearly have seen the eye on the prize, and that is the tank, as well as get that good draft pick from the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to give this one to the Jaguars. I think they're a more competent team now, so I'm going to give this one to the Jags. Anyway, moving on to the Falcons and Buccaneers. Hey Bucks, how did it feel to get dragged out into the backyard and get shot like a dead dog by the Chiefs on Sunday night? You getting that final score didn't do shit for you. That final score didn't show the embarrassment the Chiefs put you through. But now it's all good because now Brady can now pat his stats against, a weak-ass schedule from here on out and then coast his way to the playoffs, as always. Yeah. I'm going to give this one to the Falcons. While the Falcons are 2-2, and they have surprised me in being 2-2 at this point, I am going to give this to the Bucks, but it's just because you've got a weak-ass division, and everyone's just going to be slobbing on Brady's knob from here on out. Fucking hate you, Brady. Anyway, moving on now to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Steelers, you're garbage on offense. Defense, it was cool to see Kenny Pickett play this game, but you have clearly shown that you can't do shit with it. You do have, Kenny Pickett, while he did throw some interceptions, he was young, he did put off a good game. Bills did come back from did have a brutal win in a game that the Ravens choked, but I'm going to give this to Buffalo because I feel like they're going to be at home. The Steelers' offense and defense is pretty bad, and the Bills are probably going to make a statement out of you, Steelers. They're probably going to make a statement out of you. They're going to take you out back and put you in front of a firing squad. Anyway, moving on now to the Dolphins and the Jets. Dolphins, you are without Tua because fuck you for playing Tua when you knew he had a concussion. Jets, you got a win. You got a legit win against a Steelers team that crumbled at the last second. Kind of like how you got the Browns win. It is cool to see Zach Wilson's here, but, whatever. Teddy Bridgewater is just a quarterback. That's all I can say. He is a quarterback. I'm going to give this one to the Dolphins, though, because their defense is pretty solid, and obviously you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as your wide receivers in your offense. I think you've got a pretty good edge against the Jets. Anyway, moving on now to the Bears and the Vikings. This is pretty open shut. While the Bears have made wins, they have made ugly wins, and they're not good. And the Vikings, like I said, are my pick to win the division this year. But it depends on what kind of version of the Vikings show up, and more importantly, what kind of version does Kirk Cousins show up. Having said that, I am going to give this to the Vikings. Next up, we got my Tennessee Titans taking on the Washington Commanders. Commanders, remember what I said earlier that the NFC East is becoming a top-heavy division? Well, here's the weak link in that team in this division: the Commanders. I'm more scared of playing of the Titans playing in the field, knowing how injury and disgusting that field is, than I am the actual Commanders. Carson Wentz is done. Nothing about that team interests me. I'm giving this one to the Titans. Next up, we got the Seahawks and the Saints. Seahawks, your defense is trash. Geno Smith, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. Saints, you have Andy Dalton. No, who is going to be curious about this game? I'm going to give it slightly to the Saints because I still feel like they have just enough talent to overcome the Seahawks. But, yeah. Anywho. Moving on now to the 49ers and Panthers. 49ers put on a clinic against the Rams. Jimmy G looked great. Deebo Samuel looked great. And the Panthers just look god-awful. It's time to fire Matt Rule. Like, I would be shocked if Matt Rule still has his job after either this game or the next one. So I'm giving this one to the 49ers. Next up is the Eagles and the Cardinals. This should be interesting. The Eagles are the last undefeated team in the NFL. They are a pretty impressive and dominant team on both offense and defense. Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown, that's an excellent connection. I'm happy for you, A.J. I just wish you were still with the Titans. I really do. But the Cardinals are inconsistent. This is a very mid team, and it depends on what kind of version of Kyler Murray is going to show up. I'm going to give this one to the Eagles. They're just a vicious team right now, and they're going to make some noise. Next up, we have the Cowboys taking on the Rams. Cowboys, however, is playing insane with Cooper Rush. Rams, you guys do not look like the same Rams you did in the Super Bowl run. I'm going to give this one to the Cowboys on the grounds of that defense is solid. Cooper Rush looks like a decent quarterback, and God, the Rams just look so bad. Anyway, now we move on to our Sunday night game, and oh boy, we have the Bengals and the Ravens. Bengals getting a win to go over the Dolphins like I predicted. I got a prediction right, holy shit. And the Baltimore Ravens get choking to another loss. This is for basically the leadership of the AFC North. This is going to be a tough one, but I'm going to give this to the Ravens. Yes, they did choke a win, but the Ravens, when they are playing right, and because Lamar Jackson is almost having like an MVP level season, this team can be lethal. This team is going to be lethal in the AFC. So that's my pick for... but this could go either way. The Bengals have now come off 2 straight wins. They're starting to come together as a team. They are definitely coming together as a solid team in the NFL. And yeah, I do think this could be at least I hope, is a solid game. That's all I hope for is, please just give me a solid game, please. I would like a game. So there you go, I'm picking the Ravens. Moving on now to our final game of the week, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's review, shall we? The Kansas City Chiefs, though they did have an upset loss to the Colts, have more or less taken out back and shot the Bucs and embarrassed them on primetime. And the other wins have been brutal. Remember when we all thought that like the AFC West was going to be this, all-out slugfest between all 4 teams because, the Raiders had Devontae Adams, the Chargers had Khalil Mack and Justin Herbert, and then you had Russell Wilson now going to the Broncos, and now people are saying, oh, maybe the Chiefs aren't going to be the top of the division, maybe they'll get wild card as best, and they did lose Tyreek Hill, and they lost other pieces. What a laugh we all had, because it's very clear who's going to take this division again. Yep, Kansas City is... And also, let's look at the Raiders real quick. The Raiders, you got off a win against a team that's complete garbage. Josh McDaniels gets to keep his team, his job for another week. Now you're playing a competent coach and a really good quarterback in Arrowhead. You think I think you know where this is going. I'm giving this one to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are just going to annihilate the Raiders. I really do. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is pretty much my NFL Week 5 predictions. But like I've been saying, who the fuck knows anymore with these predictions, because it's impossible to tell. It really is impossible to tell with all of these. It's insanity. It's straight up insanity. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.